So today is the International Day for Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action, and our guests here will brief you on this occasion. So I'm pleased to be joined by Ambassador Sophia Eat, the permanent representative of the Kingdom of Cambodia, and Ambassador Krzysztof Czeracki, the permanent representative of the Republic of Poland, Asako Kai, the Assistant Administrator and Head of the Crises Bureau in UNDP, and of course, Eileen Kohn, the Director of the UN Mine Action Service en masse. They will make brief statements and then we will open the floor for questions. So Ms. Kohn will make the introductory remarks. Please go ahead.
Thanks very much. Thanks to all of you for helping us to mark this day of the International Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action. I'm, of course, honored to be sharing the podium with Ambassador Sikorski, who, as the permanent representative of Poland to the UN, will, on behalf of the EU this year, be negotiating the mine action resolution that we do every other year. Ambassador Eat, the permanent representative of the Kingdom of Cambodia to the UN, who, of course, knows very well over many, many decades the impact of explosive ordnance on her communities, and Assistant Secretary General Okai of UNDP, a major mine action partner and the leading entity for the United Nations in the mine action response in Ukraine. I've just returned from a trip last week to Burkina Faso and to Mali, where the threat of improvised explosive devices remains extremely high and obviously obstructs the MINUSMA mission's ability to support the extension of state authority, the mobility and livelihoods of civilians severely impacted, and of course the safety and security of peacekeepers and humanitarians seeking access to vulnerable populations. Explosive ordnance incidents in Mali, including improvised explosive device attacks, have killed 16 peacekeepers and injured 72 in 2022, constituting half of all peacekeeper deaths and nearly half of all injuries from hostile acts. In Syria, where I was in February when the earthquake happened, I went to rural Damascus and saw the work that we're doing to clear an area that was absolutely devastated in the fighting. So we were very proud of the work, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to the devastation that has taken place there. And yet you see Syrians coming back to the cleared areas and growing vegetables where possible. The earthquake happened the week that I was there, and immediately we were able to send some teams up to that area just to see what the issue would be around rubble removal. Often when there's rubble to be removed and there's ordnance in the rubble, it can be very dangerous. I was told that, and I see in many reports, that an estimated half of the population in Syria lives in contaminated areas, and some 28% of the population are living with a disability. I find that really staggering. In December, I was in Yemen, and I was driving in a convoy. The car in front of me hit an anti-tank mine. So riding in the vehicle was General Biri, the head of UNMAHA, the special political mission there. So it was the first time I was that close to an actual incident. And we were very fortunate that the device didn't fully explode. And although the car was destroyed, General Biri and the driver and his protection were safe. But it really brought home, as it needs to happen really for everybody, what it's like to live, for the people in Yemen to live with that threat every single day. I mean, having worked in this field for many, many years, I don't think anything really could have brought it home to me quite like that the people in Yemen are waking up every day and heading out to live their lives at risk of every step they take. So our annual report that's available to you now, that we always launch on April 4th, recounts the work that we're doing in all of these places I've mentioned and many others. We're present in some 20 locations. And just in closing, let me say that as we celebrate this day, and while we do want to bring attention to the dramatic impact that explosive ordnance has on communities and and national authorities trying to address the problem, I want to really thank the people who do the work. I think it's important to recognize how dangerous the work is, how committed the sector is to the work they do. And I want to thank the member states that support them, the donors that support them, and the people that are out there actually doing the work. And I hope that you'll join us to continue the celebration at the symposium that'll take place in Conference Room 4 in the GA building at 3 p.m. and at the reception that will follow. Thank you.
Ambassador Eat.
Thank you. Do I have to press anything? Okay. Excellencies, members of the media, I wish to thank Ms. Conch for the introduction. And this is my first time facing you all as the media, so be kind to me if there is any question later on. Allow me to just say a few words about the general mine action situation in Cambodia, what we have done and what we will do, and our commitment to the Anti-Personal Mine Ban Convention. As you all know, Cambodia is among the most heavily contaminated country by landmine and explosive remnant of war. And we fully realize that mine action is not only a humanitarian issue, but it is also a precondition for sustainable development that leaves no one behind. In full recognition of this fact, my government has established National Mine Action Strategy in 2018-2025, and we have also set the demining as the 18th Sustainable Development Goal. Thus, clearing landmines and explosive remnant of wars, including cluster munition, has been fully integrated into our rectangular strategy, which is Cambodia's socio-economic strategy, and also in our national strategic development plan. To further enable human development to take place in more safely environment, my government has set the target to achieve mine-free Cambodia by 2025. And we want to also clear the country of cluster munition by 2030. What we have done so far, the achievement has been very significant. For the last 3 decades of our work, from 1992 to last year, we were able to release around 2,579 square kilometers of explosive hazard contaminated land. And in so doing, we have destroyed more than 1.1 million of anti-personnel landmines, more than 26,000 anti-tank mines, and some 3 million items of unexploded ordnance. Approximately 71% of the clear land that has been released have been used for agricultural cultivation, and also for building the settlement of our people, building roads, school, and other special infrastructure that benefits around 9 million people. And this has given direct benefit also to roughly 1 million people who live on the land. The achievement has contributed to the significant casualty drop from 4,320 persons per year in 1996 to an average of 57 casualty per year in the last 6 years. So that's a significant drop of casualties because of improved awareness and increased size of clear area. A third of the areas that has been cleared was done during the last 6 years. And the amount of clear land represents as much as half of the land clear by the 33 states of the Ottawa Convention. So that's a huge achievement in Cambodia, and 11 provinces of all the 25 Cambodia's provinces have been cleared of landmine. And I would like to take this opportunity to say how grateful we are for the support that we get from donors, development partners, all relevant institutions during the last 3 decades, and they are coming together to support Cambodia to achieve our landmine free by 2025. We are deeply grateful for that. And despite this achievement that we have made, we still have nearly 19,000 square kilometers of 1,885 square kilometers of land to be cleared of landmine and other explosive remnants of war. And out of this, 563 square kilometers are contaminated by landmine. And we have set the target to clear these landmine in this 563 square kilometer by 2025. This year, we plan to clear 356 square kilometers. And next year, we plan to do the same in the area of 179. 2025, the same area, 179 square kilometers at a cost of $46 million. And to do all that, we need a total budget of $138 million. And my government has already devoted $60 million to clear the landmine during the period from now till 2025. And we are seeking assistance from donor and development partner for the rest. And we hope we have a good support. I would like to also touch on our, just a few words. I know I have overtaken too much time. We are very committed to the Ottawa Convention. And we have contributed to demining activity under the UN umbrella, and I don't need to go into detail on that. And most recently, we have contributed to humanitarian demining training to Ukraine, and we are hoping to do more. I like to end my sort of statement here. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Ambassador Tarsky, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Morning, everybody. It's my great pleasure to join you today at the occasion of the International Day for Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action. And I commend UNMAS and thank UNMAS for the work that you are doing and for invitation to this event. Such events are, as we believe, are much needed. As we all know, despite the efforts of the international community, mines, unexploded ordnance, and all explosive remnants of the war still cause deaths and of innocent people, not only during the conflicts, but also long after they end. And that's this long shadow of mining in the post-conflict areas. I think our role here is there are two main reasons that why we as Poland we are here. First, as already mentioned, as the EU facilitator of the biannual GA resolution on this crucial topic, Poland is committed to seek solutions aimed at complete clearance of landmines, explosive remnants of war, and improvised explosive devices, in line with the Ottawa Convention. Our engagement in mine action goes hand in hand with the promoting rules-based international order, international humanitarian law, and respect for human rights, because I think it's all very much connected. Poland has been continuously for many years supporting UNMAS actions through the voluntary contributions, in particular in the UNMAS Gaza emergency response. We commend the leading role of the UN in fostering worldwide efforts in mine actions and emphasize the role of the humanitarian demining plays in the post-conflict context, reconstruction and paving the way to a social and economic recovery. And we all know that a number of success stories, like we just heard from my dear colleague from Cambodia, but unfortunately, many state parties are still lagging behind with achieving targets related to the mine clearance. Landmines continue to pose a threat to people in Syria, Somalia, Afghanistan, Myanmar, and just to name a few. And the second, of course, the reason I'm taking the floor here today is that recently we can see clearly in the very vicinity of Poland and the European Union how conflicts can destabilize countries and the whole regions and make the impossible the highly dangerous task of demining and clearance. In Ukraine, the Russians are using landmines indiscriminately, targeting civilians, civilian infrastructure, transportation routes, and denying access to people's homes and agricultural land. The demining of the explosive contaminated areas, including agricultural lands in various regions of Ukraine, poses a big challenge, and it will continue to be a big challenge. According to the Ukrainian authorities, almost 200,000 square kilometers are contaminated. Ukraine is one of the most contaminated the mines regions in the world today. The mines left behind by the Russians are the threat to civilians, including children. It is also a danger for humanitarian actors to provide aid in a secure way. And we are witnessing every day this threat to the humanitarian actors as well. In this context, we would like to welcome prompt establishment of the dedicated UNMAS program for Ukraine, adjusted in scale to enormous and constantly growing need of demining. And I just want to share with you that the assistance that Poland provides in the multidimensional and comprehensive. It encompasses material aid, including military, political, and humanitarian one. In February alone, nearly 100 police officers finished their 5-month-long mission in Ukraine, where they were demining the areas liberated from Russia. They cleared more than 342,000 square meters of land and over 17.5, almost 18 kilometers of roads. And just in this mission, they removed around 2,000 dangerous objects, including mines, grenades, and grenade launchers. Demining is the number one step to ensure delivery of humanitarian aid. Without demining, we cannot think about the reconstruction of Ukraine, and therefore all our efforts should take this necessary step into account. Poland strongly believes that the mine action is crucial for the achievement of the 2030 agenda and the key in assisting communities in regaining safe and dignified lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And last but not least, UNDP's Mr. Kaihan.
Thank you for introduction. As kindly mentioned by Eileen of UNMAS, UNDP plays a role in demining across the world, including Cambodia, Laos, and then Vietnam, and to clear land and then assist victims, carry out risk education, and help people return. I'm pleased to be here with you to address one of the things that I found in Ukraine, where I took a visit. As mentioned by Ambassador Cizelski.
Christoph, that would be good.
Sorry about this, my pronunciation. The devastation in Ukraine, in the mining, damages caused by mines and unexploded ordnances is so immense. Therefore, I would like to give you some flavor of the extent of the damage and then what it needs to take the course of recovery from here. My visit coincided with the launch of the second rapid damage and needs assessment led by the UN under technical leadership of UNDP and the World Bank and the European Commission, which found that the estimated cost of reconstruction and recovery for Ukraine is at a cost of $411 billion US. And of that, 37.6 billion US dollars, almost 10%, will be needed for demining. And the impact of this on the Ukraine economy is so huge. The National Authority for Mine Action in Ukraine estimate that the 25% of Ukraine namely 180,000 square kilometers, which is almost the same. An area more than 4 times the size of Switzerland has potentially been contaminated, making it one of the world's largest minefield. And the contamination of agricultural lands in particular is having a devastating, monumental knock-on effect for the whole world. The National Authority for Mine Action of Ukraine estimate that the 4,700 square kilometers of vital farmland have been contaminated, and we must make it a priority to return farms to productive use, as highlighted by Christoph, and then so that Ukraine can feed itself and resume exporting produce around the world. It's a massive effort which needs to be supported by the international community. And we thank the governments of Canada, Croatia, Denmark, and the EU, France, Japan, and the UK, and for their support. But the gap between contributions and the cost of the damage, namely $37.6 billion US dollars, remains vast. I visited Irpin, and then I observed one of the first mine action project completed with Japanese funding. Irpin, you call, in the earlier part of the invasion last year, it was the places near the Kiev devastated by Russian aggression. And the residential areas was completely devastated with homes literally ripped apart. The demining needs in such a situation are critical, yet complex. Emergency Service of Ukraine are doing an incredible job under dangerous circumstances. The State Emergency Service have cleared almost 350,000 items of mine and unexploded ordnance since February 2022. The UN and our partners are working hard to support the government of Ukraine, clear land, and help people return home safely. We have been able to reach 3.5 million people with mine action, but so much more need to be done. We call on the international community to sustain and scale up its support on mine action in Ukraine and in countries affected by mines around the world. The latest trends in mine action financing have been downwards. And critical work remains to be done to achieve a world free from the threat of mines and other explosive remnants of war. So on the International Day of Mine Awareness, let us reaffirm our commitment to eradicating landmines and assisting those who have been harmed by them. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we would like to open the floor for any questions. Edie, please go ahead.
My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. Thank you very much on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association for doing this briefing on International Mine Action Day. I have a couple of questions. First, on Ukraine, you've said that about 75% of Ukraine has been probably seeded with mines.
25%.
25%. Oh, all right. That was better because I was going to ask, oh my goodness. 25%. So of the 25%, because of the fighting, is almost all of that agricultural land, and what kind of an impact is it having on what the Ukrainians can produce and export? And I'm thinking of the Black Sea exports. And I probably misheard the Cambodian figures as well. Did you say that there were nearly 1,885 kilometers to be cleared? Okay, and you're convinced that this can be completed by 2025. But you need $138 million to do it?
I'd like to clarify that we have a total of more than 1,800 square kilometers to be cleared. Of that, there is two parts. One part is landmine, the other is other remnants of explosive remnants of war. So out of that size is 563 square kilometers is of landmine, and we think we can achieve by 2025 the clearance of this landmine infested area. And for other ordnance, we need more time until 2030. So we need 138 million to clear landmine from now till 2025.
And your first question, Edie?
Ukraine. I did ask how much of this is agricultural land, and what impact is this going to have? Is most of the